Hello everyone, and welcome back to our Overlord podcast covering Season 3. I'm Corp Shepherd, and joining me is Antinous, the Dungeon Dragon Lord. Is that correct? Anathus, the Dungeon Dragon Lord. Yes. So you're kind of a veteran in the Discord community, right?
Yes, I run the Dungeons & Dragons Club, which was the first club for the Discord in the community. Not that I'm tooting my own horn for that, but just history lesson for you all.
Sure, yeah.
And we focus mostly on tabletop games more than Dungeons & Dragons, but it started initially as a way for me to show the various community members that, hey, Overlord is basically D&D, like, in a lot of senses. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of differences as well, but which I'd like to actually go over with this current episode 2 of the Season 3, but
yeah, is that what attracted you to Overlord in the first place? The connection to like the tabletop gaming?
Yeah, actually, well, yeah, that was probably it. Considering I was like, oh, hey, somebody's casting a lot of D&D spells. That's gonna catch my interest because
yeah, there's a weird mix of like MMO, like greater luck boost, and also like magic missiles and all sorts of different things.
Well, I mean, magic missiles are direct. Most of these spells are just directly ripped from Dungeons and Dragons. Like you can, and any fan-made D&D work. What they do is, a lot of the time when they're doing like a D&D spell, like there's fan comics for, like Order of the Stick. They just shout out the name of the spell.
And I love how Overlord's like, oh, we shout it out for tactical purposes, but, it's really just for the viewer and everybody so they know. Yeah. It's like, we gotta let our teammates know that we're casting Fireball, so we shout Fireball.
Even though Ainz is fighting Sheltier in Season 1 in the final episode.
Yeah, it's just the two of them.
Yeah,
but it's a habit,
whatever.
Whatever. Yeah.
Wall of Stone.
But that was all
Hold of Rib.
Season 1. We're moving on to Season 3, Episode 2.
Yes.
So make sure you've already watched the episode, because there's going to be some spoilers. We're going to talk about the episode.
Yes.
All right. So this episode, it starts with kind of an interesting beat. We're back into the meeting room with Ainz and the Guardians, and the quest for world domination is revealed.
And Ainz has no clue.
How did you... Yeah. I really like this scene a lot, just because the emoting of the characters, somehow they got a skeleton to be like, oh my god, which is pretty impressive, frankly.
That was pretty impressive. That was very well done. I can't really fault the animation studio at all for how well they did Ainz and Demi specifically, because that was about as
wagging his tail.
That just nailed it. That's
beautiful.
Exactly how I imagined that scene in my head when I was reading the novel. I was just like,
and something that I've always liked that I don't feel like the anime's always captured is sort of the like internal reverence that the Guardians all have for Ainz, and just having them all ing from the sidelines as Demiurge is like explaining Ainz's greatness and his unfathomable wisdom. I thought that was really good.
Oro and Mare were just adorable. Because there's like this, they're like in the bottom right hand corner for most of Demi's scenes, and you can just see them and their absolute awe and just
glistening eyes.
It's great.
Yeah, so I guess there's a little bit to add here in that the anime added. There's not this detail in the novel where Demiurge like connects the dot that like Ainz wanted world domination based on Carne Village.
Yeah, Carne Village. Yes.
And I thought that was a little strange. I think that they're trying to build up Carne as more of a, this is important.
Well, that's...
we're going to have a little story here. It's not filler. Just to blunt some of that, because, the upcoming arc, it has a bit of a reputation. It's a bit controversial, Volume 8, because it is a bit of a side story, right?
Well, there is a lot of... It's very controversial because it doesn't, much like the Lizardmen, it doesn't focus on Ainz and his great plans. It's more about a world-building exercise.
Yeah, it's.
I don't want to get too heavily into it because I think most people are going to recognize in the next couple episodes what the theme of this arc is going to be, which is Enri herself. But
yeah. So for you, what is Overlord at its best?
Well,
what do you like most?
Actually, Overlord at its best is what we're about to enter, where we're looking at the nitty-gritty details of the mechanics of the world, where I can pick apart and go, oh, hey, this looks like D&D. I can go and just and be like, oh, hey, I can theorize about all things.
Just gonna clip the ticket there and be like, yeah, another piece of D&D.
Well, it's more about the figuring out how the mechanics of the world work, because there are very distinct differences between how, like, sometimes in D&D some things work in D&D and some things work in the New World, because I want to know where the MMO starts and the D&D begins.
Yeah.
So,
for me, it's like, I love Ain's bumbling as a ruler, but I also like these smaller stories. Like, Overlord is like partially a guy showing up with overwhelming power and not really understanding how to deal with it, and having that D&D set dressing that I love.
Yes.
But also, it's about a bunch of people in a world, innocent people in a world, basically getting hit by a gigantic tidal wave called Nazarick.
Yeah, and they have no idea.
Just trying to stay afloat.
Yeah,
and just trying to survive.
Yeah, and
so
they
these
have
like
no
smaller
idea.
stories where it's like the reverberations of the Overlord are smacking everything around. It's fun. It's really fun. So,
yeah.
Out of curiosity, what is Overlord at its worst for you? Like, does anything really come to mind?
Not in the material that would be covered for the anime.
Okay, we haven't gotten
there yet. But that.
Well, we can leave it.
Yeah, we can leave it there. But at the same time, I just want to point out to you anime onlys. Yes, the LN is spectacular. You should read it. It is amazing. They explain so much.
The novel is quite nice. It is good. It's undeniably good.
Yes.
So,
like,
yeah. So we come in here. It's Carne Village. We see the goblins, their boisterous lifestyle with Enri. I don't have a lot to say here. I think that the anime actually captures the light novel very well. There are details that are missing. You know, like, they make little jokes that, like, the goblins think that Nemu is a human because she's, like, small, but Enri is a hob human because she's, like, taller and smarter. There's, like, kind of weird D&D jokes there that might not play quite as well if you're not too familiar. For those who aren't aware, you know, goblins, they're kind of like lesser to hobgoblins, which are greater, but bigger and smarter.
All right.
So, after this scene with the breakfast and the goblins kind of just having a good time and eating with Enri, we get a scene of them setting out into the forest to collect herbs. And I like the matchmaking here. The goblin and his flexing and trying to inspire.
Yeah, that was very cringy, but that's the joke.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying.
It's like,
it's adorable how the goblins are like, we gotta get these two hooked up. Ooh, yeah, big man. I just like it.
Yes.
So they're kind of playing matchmaking, playing wingman, I guess, for Nefi.
Yes.
And we go into the forest here, and it's kind of a romantically tense moment, but then suddenly there's a giant ghost wolf kind of prowling. The Bargeist. Bargeist? Is that correct?
Yeah, a Bargeist, yes. I'd actually like to stop here and talk about those kind of things. Talk about those.
Yeah.
Because, okay. Well, in Overlord, as we just saw with this episode, the Bargeist is a weird, spirity, ghosty kind of wolf.
Yeah, it comes off as kind of a demonic wolf.
Yeah, it's actually more demonic than you might think, because these Bargeist in like any lore is a goblin dog, it's a goblin wolf.
Mm-hmm.
It's they have the power to transform into a goblin.
Yeah, that's kind of the original mythology, I think, from England. That's what I was reading.
Yeah. And in D&D, they have that power as well. I don't know if they have that in power in Overlord, but you can assume that they do. I mean, it's a good guess. But there's a D&D has like art for a Barkist, and it doesn't look anything like the one that's shown in the in the anime. But it's got like, it's more like a big old snouty. It looks like a goblin, but in wolf form, and it's really ugly.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. I don't know if, like, I mean, I guess Demiurge doesn't have horns, but it kind of has horns like Albedo. And I was like, are they trying to make, like, a demon, all demons have horns kind of thing going on there? Same weird curved horns?
I don't know.
I don't think so, but it's a little interesting.
I don't know. It is a demon in a kind. So,
an outsider. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. D&D has some certain terminology, and an outsider is any monster that is, like an angel or a demon, or outsiders are like you take the soul and you make the soul the body.
Yeah.
So.
What did you think of the fight? I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. The fight itself was pretty well choreographed. You never really had any situation where, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. I liked the alchemical items. I played my first character.
The Tanglefoot potion.
Yeah, Tanglefoot bag.
Yeah. Yes.
Was
specific. That's one of the. That's a D&D item, folks. Just saying.
Was like a sorcerer who was like obsessed with alchemy. And I loved all my, like, silly, what were they, acid vials and alchemist's flames and all these things. They got really bad, but I loved them so much, and I was such a cheesy player, I guess, that I had an owl familiar, and so I would, like, bundle up a bunch of alchemical items into, like, a satchel, and then I'd have my owl fly over the enemy and just drop the satchel full of explosives basically on the enemies and be like, well, there were 6 alchemist flasks that explode for 1d6 damage, so that should do 6d6 damage. It's just like, okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You're trying to get the DM to... You're trying to get the DM to go, sure, buddy.
Slap me around. And then finally, he got fed up with my shit and was like, alright, his character's like, basically a walking laboratory of beakers. How about somebody cast the Shatter spell, which breaks all glass while he's covered in 40 alchemist flames?
And then suddenly it comes to bite you in the butt.
Yeah, suddenly we have
you're just like, oh
self-immolating sorcerer. So it was.
Yeah,
that's. So I have a big fondness.
That is a very common story for any Dungeons and Dragons game. Just like, oh hey, yeah. Enri is just like this very stereotypical, well done, alchemist character. Like, he is, Enfi is just, and I actually rather liked them showing Enri's new commander powers.
Yeah, so that was a little weird. I thought they executed it pretty well, but in this episode, she like gives the goblins a command and has that reverberation effect, and then suddenly. Straight to the ground, yeah.
Yes, it's like a split-second thing, but in all honesty, Overlord has done a very good job, like, even from Season 1, of showing, like, in split second, if you don't pay attention, you're going to miss it, kind of things.
Yeah.
I always wonder... In the novel, they got, like, 4 lines, so you can't miss it.
Yeah.
But since it's technically just happening so fast, the anime has been keeping the real time of the battles going very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I always wonder. I now have the context of like having read the novels. I'm always a little prepared for these sort of things. So yeah, the suddenness of it. I wonder if it catches people off guard. Because there's something like kind of, you're just like, was that supernatural? What was that? It's kind of weird. So
yeah, you have there's a lot of small details in the anime that if you don't know what's going on, you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And
it's something where the context gets muddled. But very often when it does muddle it, it's because it wasn't plot critical.
It's just something that would happen so fast.
Yeah.
It's just something that really did just happen that fast in the actual...
I thought that, I thought the anime actually executed it in some ways better than the light novel here, because it just made the command seem way cooler. But and that's
we just see Enri's mouth and a flash of her mouth, and then we just see the split-second dodge of the
goblins. Yeah. That's pretty much it. They set up the next episode with this foreshadowing the Giant of the East and the Snake of the West, but not really a lot else here. So
yeah, it was a very very laid back episode in my opinion.
Yeah.
There is something I'd like to touch on about next week. Mm-hmm. Where
we'll have to leave it for next week, I guess.
Yeah, basically. There's a lot of... Next week is going to probably be very boring for a lot of people, but in my opinion, it's one of the best... It's going to be one of the best sections of the series. Because as I mentioned... Because there's
a lot of competition in this season, if you know what's coming up. Interesting.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of people who really like
season
what's coming
finale.
up.
The season finale is probably the fans' fan favorite. So look forward to that.
So just before we cap off here, we finally got to see the full ending. Do you have
Yes.
Were you fond of it?
I didn't get much to enjoy it because I was watching it on the Rabbit stream with the rest of the community, and everybody was spamming the emotes.
All the hearts and
all the hearts and the claps and the cheers and I'm like, I can't really enjoy the art when it's like this.
Yeah,
but the art did. It was nice to see that it wasn't just a bunch of female pinups. Though.
Yeah, it seems like all the other endings have just been like, here's Albedo in another kind of,
here's a more slightly provocative
phrase, provocative sort of poses, and wouldn't everyone like to see some crushed Lulu? Yeah, you do. Just like all the girls,
or just Evil Eye.
Oh yeah,
though I did like Yandere Princess. That's slight reveal. That was a little bit.
Just
they slowly revealed
preference.
As the season went on last season.
Yeah.
I was like, how crazy she is. I'm like, yeah, that's fair.
It's difficult to comment on right now, but I actually really liked. There's the Bloody Emperor, which most people don't really know. There's only that one scene at the end of season 2, and his sort of court wizard Fluter, and the imagery there I thought was very striking.
He's gonna play some. Yeah. He's gonna play some. That art is pretty good of him.
Both of them are
a lot of the jokes. A lot of the jokes now going around now that people have seen him animated is that he's Gilgamesh from Fate.
I'm not familiar. Yeah.
Well, if you knew, they basically have the same design.
Mm-hmm.
They're both gold and laying around lavishly.
That emperor style. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well,
I think that should cover us about here, right?
Season 3, Episode 2. Please join us again. We'll try to do this every week for every episode for the rest of the season. And join us on Discord, the Overlord Community Discord. It's a little unfriendly in terms of spoilers for people who are anime only, but just don't delve too deeply into the wrong channels and you'll be fine, I think.
Yes. Just read the rules and find out how to join a nation.
Yeah, and if you want to read the light novel, there are opportunities to do so.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, have a wonderful day.
This is Shepard signing off, and thank you very much for listening. Do you want to say bye?
I'm good.
Okay. Bye.